Hi, I'm Carrie Penny, and on this episode of Secret Heart Broadcasting, I'll be speaking with Heather Dyer. Heather is the co-host and co-creator of the Three Kitchens podcast. She's also a mom, a gardener, a former communications professional who has, at a certain point in her life, decided she's going to do what she wants to do, even if it means not doing it perfectly. So if you're a person like me who wrestles with the need to be perfect, I think this episode's for you. Just as we're talking about this, and I'd never really thought about my working life like that, but this kind of hybrid working now, right? For me, I'm, more or less retired, but I'm also engaging in more creative projects. It feels more balanced, like I can take a deep breath, remembering back in that time, as exciting as it was and how great it felt to make your own money and be your way in the world and, Mary Tyler Moore it all. There was I think I grit my teeth every night.
Yeah, I can remember shutting my office door and just having a cry because there was so much pressure and so overwhelming. And this is not even a high pressure career. There are certainly far more important, high pressure, stressful jobs in the world than a corporate communicator. But I think part of that is your leadership and what they demand of you and that kind of thing. But yeah, I can remember just if you got to release some of that. You spend all day up here and you have to then come down and not carry it with you, I guess. It got to be very exhausting. And so after I had my second child, then I just didn't go back.
So let's talk about that, because I think that is a real, it's a choice many women have to make, right? And what you give up of yourself to become more of this other transition, this mother transition. Can you talk about making that decision and the transition for you? Because it comes at a price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I actually felt really good about a part-time career and being at home part of the time. When I first went back, I had a job share situation where I was in the office 3 days a week. And I loved that. I thought it was perfect. And I did that until I had my second child. And then they said, no, we don't want to do that again. And you cannot work less than 5 days a week in the office. That was at a time when there wasn't remote hybrid situations. That just wasn't, even though it was possible, it was technologically possible, it wasn't something anybody was doing. So that wasn't an option. And then I just thought, with my husband, we discussed it and we're like, no, because you're not only managing your career, you're still managing all the things at home. I mean, this is not new. Women have been doing this since the dawn of time. But for me, it felt like so much to do. And then when are you actually enjoying your baby and when are you enjoying yourself? And I was lucky that financially we were able to make that decision where I just stayed home, because not everyone's able to do that. So it felt like if I can, then why wouldn't I? And I wasn't so married to the job. I had found in my career that where I was at that time, if you weren't a climber, if you didn't aspire to be a manager and go up the ladder, you were sort of given the not so great assignments and kind of shuffled to the side over time. This happened to me. I saw it happen to other women I worked with. And, the value was placed on the women who put their career first. And it was much easier, of course, for men to do that in the workplace. So what you didn't see it with the men because there was no man staying home with his kids, And as soon as he had a child and started making that decision about, do you want to be at work? How much of yourself are you giving to your job? Then you see, how come I'm not working on that report this year? Or, I'm not getting the plum client groups or, so that made the decision easier because I wasn't really all that happy with where I was in the corporate world.
It sounds like you have a guiding sense of what makes you happy. Like you knew that at a young age, or you were following, what I think in internal family systems they call true self. You kind of had a sense of your true self, and that was informing your decision, as opposed to wildly ping-ponging, wondering who you are in the world and your place in the world. I don't have that, so I'm very curious about that. Yeah.
Because I was going to say maybe it comes with age, because I wasn't a 25-year-old mom. I was 36 when I had my first baby and 38 when I had the second, and made this decision about my career. But maybe it's not a wisdom of aging. Maybe it is a personality thing. I don't know. I never thought about it.
Or maybe this grounded kind of parenting where you're learning how to be self-sufficient and your mother's giving you permission to be imperfect.
Yeah. And my mom, I think almost to a fault, was always very concerned that we be independent. She wanted her girls to be independent, to the point where I felt like I could have used a bit more mothering. You know what I mean? Not that she wasn't there and everything. It's just...
You had to figure it out sometimes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I had an older sister and I have a younger sister. I'm the middle child. And there were things certainly that I learned from my older sister that should have come from my mom. Just basic girl stuff. And I remember saying to her, well, who told you? Did mom tell you this? She's like, no. I had to figure it out, or friends, yeah. It was like, are you kidding? No. So I think independence and self-sufficiency, self-reliance, really important skills to have learned from my parents. But also, I think that there needs to be a balance there. And I try to think of that with my own kids. It's like, I want them to be independent people, but I also want to be the support that I feel a mother should be. And I don't know how that works, but you just sort of trial and error.
Play it by ear, see how they do. Yeah. And you're the mother of two boys. I always find it interesting, the women I know who are the mother of boys, because boys, I'm so grateful to be the mother of a daughter, because boys frightened me. They like ran too fast and were too loud and, would demand they're very physical little creatures. And I know I'm being binary but forgive me for all that. But I think as a mother of boys, it's no wonder you're like outdoorsy and canoey and, they demand a lot of you, I think. Am I wrong?
No, I was a little nervous too at first, because I didn't know boys. I didn't have any brothers. I had two sisters. It was like the four of us girls, including my mom, in the house. And then my poor dad, who would like put up a newspaper and like hide, hide in his recliner away, or he'd go out and do chores or whatever and get out of the house. Because I think we just drove him nuts, especially as teenagers. And then my mom just didn't have the patience for any of it. So she would just like, stop fighting, she wasn't the mediator. She would just tell us to like, take it outside or whatever. And, girls are very emotional and there's a lot of
drama.
I remember my mom saying, well, I hope one day you have a daughter just like you. And it wasn't a good thing.
That's what my mother said to me. I hope one day you have a daughter.
Did you say that to your daughter?
Not yet.
No. I think you're past the point now where you would be saying that.
Yeah. Well, she's 23, but we did go through, the teenage years are, wow, what a ride.
Yeah.
So your dad then, did he play an important role in terms of, helping you? Well, obviously you've got Todd, your husband too, but helping you in terms of raising boys, like Heather, try this, or send him over here and we'll go, run fast.
No, my dad is he was the kind of person who wouldn't tell you how or what to do or how to do. He wasn't like the guy to give advice. So I think because he was never really in that role, I never went to him for advice. I didn't ask him about. He would just laugh. He liked to hear the stories of what the kids are doing, and he would just laugh about it. Like, well, good luck with that, kind of thing. And my husband didn't really have a father figure. His mom was a single mom. His dad lived across the country and for most of his childhood. And he's still just sort of every day trying to figure it out. Like, how do you parent when you didn't have that role? He didn't have that male role model. And I feel like I had really great parents, but a little bit arm's length, I guess, a little bit.
Thanks for listening. If you like the show, please tell your friends.